Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Not Your Average Joel. So, today we are on episode 49. We are only one episode away from being complete with season two on episode 50, which episode 50, just a quick spoiler alert, is just going to be a solo recording of just me, kind of talking about self reflection and things that I've learned from the first two seasons of my podcast, which have been amazing experiences, but also some learning experiences. So stay tuned for that. But today is actually going to be, I guess, my final podcast recording as far as like doing one with a guest, as far as the season goes. So I've had some past guests, that have come back on my channel, and I've had some new guests that have joined this season on my channel. Which, speaking of new guests, we actually have a new guest here today. This is Isaiah. I've known Isaiah for a few months now. I think we met a little bit earlier this year, probably around
Mhm.
the summer or so. So probably a good 5 6 months. So
Mhm.
we've gotten to know each other through United Young. So if you've watched all of my recordings, you should probably know what United Young is by now because Isaiah is the 10th person from United Young that I've had on my channel. And it's definitely good to have him here for the first time. So welcome to Not Your Average Joe.
Hey, Joel, it's great to have. Thank you for having me on here, and thanks for just inviting me to be part of this. It's a huge honor for me. Yeah, hey guys, I'm Isaiah. Nice to meet you all. Just a little bit about me is I'm from Las Cruces, New Mexico. If you don't know where that is, about 30 miles north of El Paso, Texas. I live only about 45 miles from the border of Mexico. Yeah, and so as Joel had mentioned, yeah, we met through United Young, and she's become a great friend of mine, just sharing insights into what the Lord is doing into both of our lives, and just encouraging one another. Even though we're hundreds and hundreds of miles apart, it's really great to get to know Joel in this way. A bit about me is I work at a bank right now. I work at a local bank called Citizens Bank. And I've been working there for almost 4 years now, 4 years on January 31st. So it's been a great ride. Um, I graduated from New Mexico State University. I have a couple of degrees. I got a bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in forensic psychology and another bachelor's degree in Spanish. What I hopefully want to do is I want to go into like CIA, FBI. I wanted to go into like criminal profiling, criminal psychology, that sort of realm. And yeah, it's just been great. Just the journey the Lord has been taking me on throughout this whole thing, and just meeting great friends like Joel along the way to learn something new and to share. And yeah, it's just been great to be here.
Yeah, that's amazing. That sounds like some great future plans that you have going for you. So
Mhm.
I hope all of that happens for you because getting to use your degree for something that you love to do, like passionate about, I think that's an awesome that's a good like a good thing to end up doing like
Yeah,
as far as like your future. So I'm hoping that all comes to fruition for you.
I appreciate that, Joel. I hope so too. Praying and working hard every day. So I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, fun fact, everybody, this is actually the third person that I'm having a podcast with that's from New Mexico. So, I just thought about that. I've only been in New Mexico once, and when I went to New Mexico, I didn't meet any of these three people there, but I went there for
Nice.
the Albuquerque, the Hot Air Balloon Festival,
Yep.
the big thing that happens in October. I went there like right before COVID happened, so that was an
Oh
amazing
man.
experience. I loved it.
Nice.
And then also I went to like the Four Corners, and then I went to
Mm.
the White Sand, like I think it's a park down there, like southern
Yeah.
New Mexico. Yeah. So
Yeah. White Sands National Park. It's about actually a 30-minute drive east of where I'm from. So it's pretty close to where I'm from. It's beautiful. Definitely want to check that out again.
most definitely very peaceful there. I last time I was there, I saw like a huge rainbow there. I thought that was pretty awesome seeing that in the
Yeah.
desert, and because it was raining on our way there, so once we got there, the skies finally cleared up, and we are like, yes, like look how peaceful it is. It sounds so peaceful. It just looks beautiful. So I definitely
Yeah.
recommend that for sure.
Oh, yes, sir. I do too. To all your listeners out there, come visit New Mexico. It's well worth the travels. It's beautiful, peaceful, and some of the best food you'll ever have. Trust me.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, definitely recommend New Mexico for all of you people. So so like Isaiah mentioned, we are both fellow believers, we're both brothers in Christ. So today's topic was going to be in relation to kind of like spirituality and like religion and stuff like that, and even things that people as bodies of believers, body of believers go through. And so I guess I'll go ahead and tell everybody what this topic is about. So today's topic is actually going to be on jealousy. So jealousy is not immune to like any specific person. It hits everybody at some point. Whether it's a little like teensy weensy kind of jealousy that you have about something that could be minor, or it could be a huge major jealousy that somebody may have that could be dangerous. So, we're going to kind of discuss both sides of the spectrum, or everything that's in between as well. So, I have a few questions that I'm going to ask Isaiah, and then I'm going to be giving my input as well. So, I think we're going to go ahead and get into this first question. So, the first question is, what are some things that you have been jealous of when it comes to other people?
True. There's actually kind of a list of things coming from my end, just because you see people doing stuff and people having stuff that like you want all the time, and it's just like this. For me personally, I've always learned that it's just constant thing of like I want this, I want this, I want this, and I have it, I have it. Oh, but then there's that. I want this. It's like this never ending thing of just like the grass is always greener. That's always going to be something. And so one of the things that has always been on my mind was just like to be physically fit, to be like just to be more athletic, be more on my feet. I've actually been working on that, but it's been something that's been kind of like on my mind, on my heart, like a lot. Was just like I want to be fit, like all these people. I want to look good and feel good, and I just want to be able to post on Instagram and look all confident and whatnot. And it's something that I've always tried to like work towards, but never actually like been able to obtain. So that could be just one thing. Another thing was probably like a relationship, like a girlfriend. Many of my friends, actually, who are younger than me, I'm 26 right now, but many of my friends who are younger than me are already married. Some of them are already having kids, and some of them are some of my closest friends. And so, one thing that I've kind of dealt with in the past with jealous in regards to jealousy was just having a relationship, having that special girl to have. And the guys are great, and I love my friends and I love my family, of course, but it's always been on the back of my mind to have that sort of like relationship and just to be able to share life with somebody that's not my gender, that's not that special someone that I can just like share everything with. um Let me think of what else. Those are the two biggest things I can think of right now is just like being more physically active, being more physically fit, and then the other side is just having a girlfriend. I and it's kind of funny because one thing I've learned is that a lot of things that I'm jealous about, like I could just kind of just fix that by just going and just kind of pursuing those things. So I'll give you an example. So like the physically fit thing, I've actually taken the initiative of just like, you know what, I'm gonna do better for myself. So I started eating better and going to the gym about 4 or 5 times a week, doing the keto diet on and off. And I've actually lost over 30 pounds since June 1st. And so that's really helps alleviate that jealousy. And another thing is the girlfriend thing. I have met somebody special now that I actually met at the beginning of November. So I've been talking with her and just taking that to the Lord and just kindling that special bond between me and her. So I've just been learning to combat that jealousy by actually going out and wanting to get those things instead of just sitting here feeling sorry for myself. So those are just some of the things I can think of at the top of my head that I've truly been like jealous of, truly just like, oh, I want that. And slowly learning to help myself, with those things.
Yeah, absolutely. You brought up something there at the very beginning that I really like, took in, and like it was a good, like insightful thing to hear, because you said something about you want something, and then once you get that, then it's like you want more. Like you see something else, like, oh, I want that now, and it's almost
Yeah.
like we're never fully content with what we have. Like we
Mm,
like we almost take things for granted sometimes. Just even as bodies of believers, like body of believers, we get all we almost become worldly in a way to where like we see like a materialistic kind of thing. Like, okay, well, I have the nicest car now, but it's like now here comes the newest phone just came out, so let me go
uh,
after that newest phone. So there's
yeah.
things like that. And then the two things that you mentioned are actually the same two things that I have like had jealousy of as well. I
Mm,
remember when we first met, I remember you telling me about your weight journey and just hearing about where you're at right now. I think that's also awesome. So congrats on that, losing 30
appreciate that.
pounds. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Appreciate that. And I'm still not done either. I still have a goal of losing another about 20 pounds between now and May. So at the rate that I'm going, that's pretty good. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. And it's been hasn't been easy, hasn't been, never easy. Of course, I'm making it sound like, oh, yeah, it's gonna happen. Like, no, it's been a journey, but I've learned a lot, and I'm grateful that I didn't let that jealousy consume me. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna do something about it because I want it, right? If you want something so bad, you're gonna work for it. So here I am.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just working hard throughout the process and learning things about yourself throughout the process and just knowing your limits as far as like what's it gonna take to reach your goal. So I think those are all like super important to take in. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. And I'm sure, like you said, getting up to May, I'm sure you'll be at your goal. I have a good
Oh,
feeling
yeah.
about it.
I appreciate you, Joel. I'll keep you updated on all that. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it's going to take me. But I already see the benefits and the fruits, so to speak, of all of this. So I'm excited to see what's the next 6 months is going to hold and what I'm going to look like and where I'm going to be with that.
Yes, absolutely. That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
so for me, I think it's kind of the same thing as far as like trying to lose weight.
Mm,
Like back in 2020, back when COVID started, I lost a good bit of weight. I lost maybe around 25 pounds, and I kind of felt a lot more confident. And like you said, that whole jealousy kind of just like diminished in a way to where I felt a lot more confident in myself. But then in
yeah.
2021, I started slacking and I gained 20 of it back to where I was only 5 pounds less than where I was at the very beginning of this whole weight loss journey. So
Uh-huh.
I kind of started having like a big defeated kind of attitude. And that's kind of where that little jealousy bug kind of bit me and just started realizing like gosh, like why can't I have like an easier time losing weight? Like I feel like some of these people, I feel like they can keep weight off and stuff like this, but I guess like I have a slower metabolism, so I guess that's kind
Mm,
of where the challenge comes in for that. But this year, same for me. Like I started trying to lose weight, like maybe starting in April, and I started kind of still having that jealousy, also just kind of defeated attitude because I went to the gym for like 2 months and I ended up losing nothing. I didn't lose a single pound. And I
uh,
think the reason why is because I think I was only doing one thing, like as far as the treadmill, just the treadmill. And I guess my body was kind of like used to being on the treadmill. So
yeah.
I guess somebody recommended me change up your workouts. Like don't just do cardio only. Like, try to throw in some other things to the mix. So I
Yeah.
started trying to do that. And then also I think like I started trying to change like what I eat too, because I once somebody told me at church actually, someone told me that like 80% of you losing weight comes from food and the
Yep.
20% is from like exercising.
Yep.
So I really took that in and like started trying to change like lowering my portions and then also trying to change a little bit of what I eat and drink because I do drink a lot of Coke. So because I
Yeah.
work for Coke and Coke is good, but but I do know that Coke is not, I guess, good for you, like constantly
Uh-huh.
drinking it. So I started
Yeah.
trying to incorporate water more into just what I put into my body. So just having more water and eating less of the food that's not good for you, even though it tastes as
Uh-huh.
good. That's kind of the challenge that comes with that. But in the last 6 months, I I've lost around 15, 16 pounds. So I guess I will take that. And my goal is hopefully to lose another like 10 pounds is my goal.
Nice,
So
nice.
I'm hoping that I can get there. It's slowly coming off, so I'll take anything as long as it's not going up. So
Yeah, that's
like for
right.
you, you said that, kind of diminished your jealousy kind of at that point, and it kind of
Mhm.
did for me too. Like I feel a little bit more confident in like things that I wear and how I look in the mirror. I mean, still there are times maybe where I look in the mirror and think like, oh, like I still want to
Yeah.
lose weight like in this area and stuff like that. But for the most part, just not even because I know, like for me, I mean, I know it's not impossible, but for some reason, the
Mhm.
idea of having like, abs and like big muscles, I feel like that's like almost unrealistic to me. But I mean, it's not impossible. It just doesn't. I don't know, maybe it's just not something I'm willing to like work super hard for. So like maybe
Yeah.
just thinning down or like getting more fit, I guess is my goal more than trying to look like a bodybuilder. I guess that's not really my goal. But
Yeah.
so that's I guess as far as that goes, that's been improving. And then the other thing that you mentioned as far as like finding that special somebody, that's been something I've been like struggling with. Like just been I've
Mhm.
been single like for 7 years now. My last relationship was when I was like in my early 20s, and I'm 29 now. So haven't really I've been on a lot of first dates, but nobody that has really gone past that. So it's just almost that's still something I struggle with because I do know what you mean when you talk about people that are younger than you that are getting married and having children. And I like in my family, I have a big family, and I only have two siblings that are younger than me, and both of them are married. And one of
Um,
my sister has two daughters, and my youngest brother, him and his wife are about to have their baby next week. So it's like, I
Nice.
start looking and thinking like, yes, I'm happy for them, but it's like when is it my moment? Like when is it going to
Yeah.
happen for me?
Yeah.
And that can get I know later we'll kind of talk about the spiritually dangerous side of that, but sometimes it can be a little like I start taking focus or putting the focus all on me at that point, so that
Oh,
can be a little dangerous, but at the same time still kind of wanting to root for myself, but sometimes I
mhm.
do put myself down, like, maybe maybe I start questioning myself, like, why am I still single? Why can't I find anybody? Like, so I start like putting these questions in my head, and then that can
Mhm.
mess with like your mental health and all that. So yeah, like, there's those two things, and then the only other thing I could think of is kind of like a minor jealousy is like when I see people travel to other countries that I want to go to. That's the only other
Mm.
one. Like
Yeah.
when I see people in Italy, I'm thinking like, oh, I want to go to Italy so bad.
Dang. Yeah. No, I definitely have that jealousy towards like traveling too. Like I would love to like go on like some kind of mission trip or just some kind of like being like overseas to like Japan or like to France, Italy, Spain. I know that it'll happen in time, but I totally get what you mean like by the whole like I want to travel to places I've never been. I kind of had that too not too long ago. And just same thing, I just took the initiative and I was like, well, you know what? Instead of sitting here like wanting and just desiring, I ended up going on road trips. And actually, back in 2021, I took 13 road trips. Half of those were by myself. They weren't overseas, but they did fix that. They did kind of like help that travel bug with just wanting to travel, wanting to do stuff. I saw my friends doing stuff. Even like this was kind of like towards the tail end of the pandemic, and I really like wanted to do stuff like that. I didn't have money to go overseas, of course, but I took 3-day weekends. I did took my vacation time, and I try to help myself in that way by traveling. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, all right, the United States is cool and all, but like now I'd like to go overseas now at some point for whatever reason. So try to work on that too. So I'm right there with you with that.
Yeah, it's I'm definitely right there too, because even though I've done a good bit of traveling, like kind of like what you were already mentioning, is like you get something that is like you want more out of it, and I guess that's kind of how I am with traveling. It's like I've been
Oh,
to 4 countries and 36 states, but it's like I still want more. Like I still want to travel more.
yeah,
So it's almost like start seeing other people go to these countries that I so desire to go to, or even states that like I haven't been to that I want to go to really
yeah,
bad. So that's just part of that little jealousy bug that I guess bites
yeah,
us from time to time.
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like I said, it bites us in different ways, and that's still traveling. Definitely, I felt that before.
Yeah, and I think before I move on to the next question, I think what you kind of already stated that I think was very powerful to me is just instead of like dwelling in like the jealousy, it's like you go after it, like you kind of fight against the jealousy by like taking on those goals as far as like losing weight and like you pursuing somebody that you're interested in. I think that's very like big. Like that's something that's great to like go after and do as far
Mhm.
as life goes because you might as well live with no regrets and not dwelling and being like kind of sad
Yeah,
about things that you see other people doing that like you we could easily do too if we just put our mind and heart to it.
exactly. No, you're exactly right. That's kind of the mindset I've been kind of developing over the past year. Is just like, you know what, like this person has everything. Well, not everything, but they have something I want, and they already have the means by which they can obtain it, and I do too. So why am I comparing myself when I can just do that too? and and just not thinking about it too much, because a lot of it just stays up here, right? That's the battle, is like up here. Well, don't think about it too much and just kind of do it. Like half of those road trips, the 13 of them, they were impromptu. I had no business traveling with $100 in my bank account, and I still did, and it ended up great. And I kind of fixed that travel bug. Same with losing weight. Just like I just one day I was like, you know what, June 1st, I'm going to start. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to stop eating carbs and sugar. I'm going to start hitting the gym 4 or 5 times a week. And I never regretted any of it. It's been a huge journey, and that the weight's going to be going like that little by little helps the confidence. You start to see, again, you start seeing the fruit of it. But yeah, just like you see other people doing it, and it's just like, well, what's holding you back? Like you have everything you need to do that, so why don't you go do it too? What holds you back from taking that first step? And for me, it was just not thinking about it, just sucking it up and just doing it. I mean, I want to look like my friends who are all athletes. Some of them are D1 athletes, and I want to look like that. Well, go out and do it. Like it's always that first step. But now here I am, December, whatever it is, 18, 17, whatever, and down 30 pounds. I feel great. I'm able to wear good stuff. I'm able to look good, feel good, and I'm still not done. And I'm thankful that I started when I did, instead of waiting till I'm, early 30s and then being like, oh, you know what? I should have done that when I was 26. I should have done that when I was younger. Well, here I am now, and I have that revelation. I'm going to go after it.
Yes, absolutely. So I hope anybody that's watching this, I hope that y'all take that in because that's some really good piece of advice to just go after your dreams. Don't let nothing stop you and quit worrying about the what ifs and just do it.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's right. Just
So yeah. Moving on to my next question. Has jealousy ever ruined a relationship or a friendship for you?
kind of big. Let me think. So jealousy in my life has actually affected not relationships like with the girl or a partner, but for me more with friendships. I've always noticed, and maybe this is just something that how I cope with it, is that jealousy, whenever that kind of arises in my heart, I tend to push people away that I'm jealous towards. And I know I'm not the only one that thinks that, because I'm a human being, meaning others will feel it too. But it has definitely ruined some. I have pushed people away because they have things, and they're usually just minor things, not like crazy big life altering things. And whenever I see them have it, I don't know why, I just have this mode of just like, I want to shut down, and I am just not even going to pay them no mind. I'm not going to text them. I'm not going to do anything. And it's kind of, I don't know why, that's just my coping mechanism. That's just something that I have just done. And it has ruined a lot of friendships. I'm still friends with them, but we're not as close as we should be. One of my good friends recently got engaged. Actually, let me think. It was actually a couple of months ago. This is before I met the girl that I was pursuing, and I actually did not know. He's actually one of my closest friends, one of my best friends, and I didn't know about the ring, and I didn't know about the engagement party, and he's supposed to be one of my best friends. And when I saw that on social media, when I saw that, I got very jealous because that was something that I wanted, and I actually did end up pushing him away for these past couple of months. It's gotten to the point now where I'm just like I didn't want to like see him or talk to him, and it's gotten not bad, not like crazy. Like we're not mad at each other. It's more on me than him. He doesn't even know what's going on, right? But it has that once that root is planted and it grows, it can definitely lead to bitterness. And I'll talk about that more a little bit later on. What can that look like? But for me, yeah, it has ruins friendships, and it hasn't happened to me. Thank you, Jesus. It hasn't happened to me, but I have seen jealousy, even just a little bit, even some suspicion of its ruin like marriages. I've seen it. That insecurity has definitely ruined some marriages, some relationships that I've seen. And so as I pursue this woman, this girl that I've been talking to, and I'm starting to like her, I definitely don't want any kind of root or bitterness, taking seat in either of our hearts because I see where that leads. And I just want to, squash the bug, so to speak, immediately because I don't want that to get any bigger than it needs to be. With the friendships, it just comes down to just humbling myself. This is just my remedy, what I'm thinking about, what I need to do. But just not confronting my friend, but being able to humble myself and say, you know what, I don't have this right now, but I'm gonna choose to be glad for my friend despite how I feel because that's one of my best friends and I love him to death. And I love his fiance too. Like they're one of my closest friends too. Like we're all good friends. And I want to be happy for them. So despite I feel jealous, I'm gonna just push and I'm just gonna just it's gonna kind of hurt a little bit, but I want to choose to be happy for them and to know just to be able to applaud them and be happy for them and to know that my time is coming up soon and I want them to be there with me too. I don't want that root of jealousy to get in between either of us.
Yeah, that's very important. Like you said, it's almost putting your feelings aside, in honor of your friend and,
Um,
celebrating him in his moment. I think that's
mhm,
very huge because we all hope for that moment, to eventually be engaged, eventually married and stuff like that. And
mhm.
to see somebody else, get there before you, it almost does, put a damper on things for a moment, but then you almost just have to put it to the side and just realize like this is their moment, it's finally happening for
Yeah.
them. So I
Mhm.
can relate to that in a way, even like I just mentioned a few minutes ago with my siblings. And I even have like nephews, that are old enough to like be married and in relationships, and that's actually happened, has happened. And I started thinking like, did I just get skipped? Like, why am I still single? It's like
Yeah.
yeah, it just could be very
Yeah.
it could be very like I don't know, just kind of not depressing, but just very like almost forgotten about in a way. But that's
Mhm.
where it can get a little dangerous, which I know I feel like I keep talking about dangerous, but like I bring it up because I know here in a little bit we're going to be talking about that. But so I think that's like very important just to like you said, just humble yourself and just really put your feelings to the side and just realize that like this is his moment, and I'm gonna be there for him because I
Yeah.
care about him. So that's very
Mhm.
big of you. That's definitely I know that comes from God giving you that strength, and that
Mhm.
that wisdom, to get through that.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been easy. Like I said, it's some moments are a lot easier than others, but again, it's just putting all those feelings aside and just saying, you know what, like I love my friend and we've been friends forever. Like, why am I gonna let this little thing that I should be happy for with him get in between us? Like, I definitely want to celebrate with him and just again just humble myself and realize that it's not about me. And that's very selfish of me to think like, oh, like he has what I don't, whatever. Then it's like, no, I should be happy because I want them to be happy for me whenever it's my turn. And like there's a lot of goodness in that. There's a lot of peace with that. It's just taking that first step. And again, it's not easy, but I'm learning to do so, and I know that many others um, struggle with that too, obviously. And I can just encourage them and just say, you know what, like, I can let this little like jealousy like overarch your friendship with this person or relationship with this person. Like, don't you love them enough? Like, your love should be bigger than that. Like, the love that Jesus gives you or the Lord gives you, like, should be bigger than like this little jealousy that you have towards them. It's all gonna come. It's gonna come to pass. I don't want to, come back in a year and be like, dang, I wish I was there for my friend. Like, I wish I didn't let that root of bitterness take place because that has happened before. Where I look back and say, why was I so dumb and bitter? I could have easily just rejoiced with them. And so now that I acknowledge this bug that's taking place, it's like, I'm gonna work on that, and I'm gonna humble myself. I love my buddy, and I want to be there with him. And yeah,
Yeah, that's great. That's like a good like first step to fully get rid of like, that jealousy, even though it may come back from time to time, is just being
mm,
aware that it's there and just knowing that like you're not gonna let that, get the best out of you. Like it's going to be
yeah,
something that you want to get over and because you don't want to lead it, like you said, to regret and like feeling bitter and like even dwelling in like sadness or anger towards that person. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
super
yeah.
important.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I've had the same kind of situation like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess I'll bring up another situation. I had a friend, well, still friends with this person, thankfully, but jealousy almost ruined this friendship, like probably a good 10 years ago. So back in high school, well, back actually before that. I didn't really grow up with friends, I should say. Like, I didn't really have people I could consider as a friend. And I didn't really have like my first friends until I like got into high school and started building like friendships with a few different people. And there was, one friend that came into my life my junior year. And like we were really close. Like we kind of would, open up to each other about different things, like share our testimony with one another and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. Well, years later down the road, or a few years later down the road, like our friend circle got bigger. So like more people kind of jumped into the equation through other mutual friends.
Uh-huh.
And nothing wrong with those people. Like, I got along with those people as well. But I feel like my the guy that I'm really close with, friends with, close brother in Christ, he kind of became like really good friends with this one other person in our group. And some reason, I guess, just being immature, 19, 20 year old, like kind of, I guess, petty. I don't know what you want to call it, but I guess some reason I started getting jealous that like that he was getting close with this other guy. I don't, like as friends, of course, like just wondering, you know, like almost feel like I'm being replaced in a way because like
Mm-hmm.
me and my friend like built years of friendship off of this, but then this person jumps in like in it's almost like he got to skip the line like at like the amusement park. He got the fast pass to
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
a
yeah.
close friendship with this person, and it took me years to get that to that point. So I guess I kind of started getting into my feelings regarding that and kind of let it be known that like I didn't like how what this was, how this was going.
Yeah.
And it almost did mess things up for me and that friend because it was began a lot of we started definitely drifting apart as far as friends because
Yeah.
I guess of my jealousy in that way, just because I thought I finally have one true friend that I could really count on. And then it
Mm-hmm.
almost felt like it was taken away from me, even though, and
Mm-hmm.
at the end of it all, just looking back at it, it was never being taken away from me in the first place. I think that's just where the enemy came in and just was trying to, basically kick me while I'm down, just trying to basically tell me, like, see, look, he don't care about you. Like, that's not your friend. So,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
getting that kind of defeated feeling. But eventually I, man up, matured, and stuff like that, grew up, mentally and all that. And I started, just realizing that like people can have, you know, more than just one close friend. So that's
Yeah.
something that I learned from my early 20s that like I can look back on. But as far as like even with the engagement and stuff like that, I've had that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that as far as like friends being friends with other friends, if that makes sense, that's been something that I've
Yeah.
like kind of gotten jealous over, which is crazy now that I think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely like you want to like keep that friendship like, no, this is my friend, mine. But it's like it's okay to like share friends. We're all gonna have friends on friends on friends at the end of the day. It's I've definitely shared that too. I think that I I've had my fair share of like, no, I don't want to share friends. This is mine. But it's like it's also kind of selfish of me because it's just like, well, this is an awesome friend of mine. Like I should want to be able to share my this awesome friendship with like other people too. We're gonna go our different ways. We're gonna go to our different jobs. Like it's almost inevitable that we're gonna meet new people. And yeah, it's definitely something that I've struggled with. Also, I feel you on that.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely just something that I guess more people go through than like what I think. Like sometimes I start
Mm,
thinking like, am I the only like crazy person that goes through something like this? So I'm glad to know I'm not alone.
no, definitely one thing I've learned about like through jealousy is that like everything that you feel, everything that you experience, if a human being felt it and like deals with it like we do, like chances are there's other people other human beings, so to speak, that deal with it too. Just we happen to be talking about it and being more out with it. I think the problem just comes from people not addressing it and it just taking root in our hearts and just growing into bitterness or growing into just being hateful towards something. I think the idea is just to acknowledge it. Like we all deal with jealousy. We all deal with some kind of jealousy, some kind of thing. It's like, well, we're not the only people. And it gives me a lot of peace knowing that like we're not the only ones that deal with it. I have you as a friend to be able to confide in. You also have me. And I know a lot of your listeners I'm willing to bet money on it that they also deal with the same things that we're talking about now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one big reason why I wanted to do a podcast in the first place is just because
Mm,
I want people to relate to things that, I talk about on this channel. It's like jealousy, for
mhm.
example, is something that, I'm hoping that people will, take this all in and just realize that they're not alone in those situations, that
Yeah.
like they're not crazy if they're having these kind of thoughts, like jealousy thoughts.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, just acknowledging that, like you were saying, I think it's super important and just,
Mhm.
being ready to take it on and not letting it, get the best of us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just acknowledging that right away and then just like doing something about it. And just knowing that you have friends here, on your podcast or they're in your friend group, wherever you're at, or even here too. Like we're all human beings. We're all broken. We're all dumb. Like, it's good to know that we have each other to share that. And you find so much. I'm just speaking directly to the listeners out there. You'll find so much liberation when you just open up. Like the moment you start confessing all these things, whatever it may be, whether it be jealousy, whether it be you fill in the blank, you'll find a lot of just comfort. You'll be met with grace from friends, from family. Like, it's a beautiful thing to be able to confess and to share these burdens with one another because you find a lot of just freedom from doing that. And then you'll find more often than not that people will be like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you dealt with that. Well, me too. And then it's just like, oh, God, thank you. Like that's awesome. Like I could finally have someone I can share this with. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that ties into what we were talking about before, how I told you about my buddy Joey that I've been just like ministering to. Um, I'm not gonna get into detail, but one thing that he has shared with me, because he kind of deals with a lot of like mental stuff, like emotional, just like mental stuff. And I shared that with him. And one thing that he always tells me is that he's very thankful that he has someone that he could just be honest with and truthful because I have dealt with what he's dealt with. He has dealt with before and he is dealing with currently. And to him, that's a big deal of peace. That's a huge that's a huge breakthrough for him because he has someone who he could confide in because all the anxiety, all the stuff that he's dealing with, I've dealt with, and he just kind of like pours it on me, and he just like dumps it on me over the phone while we're talking, and I'm just like, yep, I've dealt with that, I've dealt with that, I've dealt with that. Yep, you're. I told him this one time that him telling me all these things, it's like I'm talking to the younger version of myself when I was 21, 22. I'm like, dude, like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, dude, like, you're not going crazy, Joey. Like, bro, I love you. Like, I know what you're talking about. Like, it's okay. And just like being able to share that with him, like, is just, it makes the biggest difference. And so I encourage yourself and also the listeners out there, just like, just be vulnerable, just be open, and you'll never know who you can relate to or who will open up and be able to share that with. Like it's a beautiful thing once you find that. And it's really, really helpful to find that.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because I think just being honest with yourself and being honest with other people, it opens that door for friendships and
Mm-hmm.
growth in friendships to happen. And especially nowadays, I feel like just for as far as like history goes, I feel like as far as men goes, I feel like maybe we're told, not really told, but it's just almost like we're expected to not be vulnerable or not
Yeah,
to really be not to talk about things that we go through because if you talk about it then it's like you're not manly basically you're like
yeah,
you're touching your feminine side like you're getting a little too wimpy basically but it's like really at the end of the day it's like it really shows strength
yeah,
to like who you are as a man. I think that's awesome. So like, I'm glad that
yeah,
you have a friend like that that you can talk to and that you can relate to in that way.
yeah. Yeah, no, and it just kind of happens because he just opened up and said, "Hey, I'm dealing with XYZ." Boom. And I'm just like, I've dealt with that too. Like, I thought I was going crazy at that time. And then it's just like that instant connection, that instant friendship of just like, hey, like, I understand. You don't have to sit there and justify. You don't have to sit there and explain yourself. Like, I'm here. Like, I know. I get you, bro. I'm right here with you, bro. Like, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's definitely something that we as a society need to work on, especially for us men. Like exactly what you said. Like we're taught, well, not taught, but we're the societal thing. excuse me, is to say, oh, I'm not going to open up. Don't open up. Just keep everything bottled up. You're less of a man um, if you open up and you be vulnerable, but that's actually very, very toxic. And that leads to a lot of other stuff, not just jealousy, a lot of insecurities later on down the line. It helps, especially at a young age like you and I are at, to open up about these things and to share and to relate, because that's ultimately what's going to bring healing. And that's what's going to help others also in the process.
Yes, amen to that. I think that's some really good key points to bring up. So I hope that viewers you were taking this in because I'm definitely taking this in as well. And
Mm.
this is exactly why I do my podcast episodes because not only do I want people to learn about me, but like I really want to learn from other people too. So just taking that in and just
Yeah.
really just realizing that you don't want to go down a dark path of of the
Uh-huh.
unknown. That would be
Yeah.
really bad.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that you should we needs to be addressed right away. Definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm.